And as I was saying a minute ago, our guest this week is Paul Thorn from Tupelo, Mississippi, and he's a singer and a songwriter. He was a boxer. He's a skydiver. He's also a really fine artist as well. He does some paintings that are some extraordinary paintings. I think that is one there. His paintings remind me in a tangential way of the Where's Waldo kind of paintings, in that you can just sit there and look at them for a really long time and continue to find things in there and things going on in there. And so yeah, we're going to give Paul a call here in a little while. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to play one of his videos, and it's a song. It's to me, it's a very so much of what he does is self-revelatory. And this is one of the most, in my opinion. This is a song by a video, Paul Thorn, and it's called You Might Be Wrong.
Thank you very much. I grew up in the Bible Belt, Mississippi. That's where they believe Jesus Christ is the only God in the whole world. And so I believed that wholeheartedly for a long time. And then when I left home, I went out into the broader world, and I saw other folks that believed in something different than Jesus. And they all seemed sincere, just like the Christians did. And so I realized, at least for me, whatever you believe, you might be wrong. So I wrote this song right here. It's what I think about the whole thing right now. And this song got me kicked out of Sunday school. Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and Jews got their own version of the truth. There's a line in the sand, there's a war going on. They forgot to remember you might be wrong. Carry your faith everywhere you go. Mix it with love and let it show. But keep your mind open as you move along, and always remember you might be wrong. Why do we argue? Why do we fight? Everybody thinks God's on their side. Just count to 10 before you throw a stone. Whatever you believe, you might be wrong. Don't cut me off, don't say we're through, just because I don't agree with you. You see, flowers grow where seeds of love are sown. You could be right, you might be wrong. Why do we argue? Why do we fight? Everybody thinks God's on their side. Just count to 10 before you throw a stone. Whatever you believe, you might be wrong. What's on the other side of life? I won't know until the day I die. If you feel insecure, you are not alone. 'Cause everybody knows you might be wrong. Why do we argue? Why do we fight? Everybody thinks God's on their side. Just count to 10 before you throw a stone. Whatever you believe, you might be wrong.
Paul Thorn, proving that you can play a guitar, sing a song, and chew gum at the same time. We're going to give Paul a call now. I know everybody's out there just going like this because we've had a few issues on our last phone calls, but we're going to try it again. We're going to see what happens here.
Hello?
Hey, Paul, it's Grant.
Hey, Grant, what's up, buddy?
Oh, man, we're just doing a show. We just played one of your songs. How's everything in Tupelo?
Everything's good. Are we on the air right now?
Yeah, we're on the air right now. Yeah.
Well, I'll be doing. Everything's good here in Tupelo. I mean, Elvis is dead, but other than that, everything's good.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm going to jump right into some questions here. We played your song. You might be wrong, and I got a question about that, but I got another question I want to ask you. And
Okay.
you know, I know so many people out there doing what we do, and I just don't know of anybody else that out there doing what we do that is quite as uniquely positive and upbeat as you are, and in your personality and in your songs. I don't really know if there's really a downer song in your catalog. I mean, you've got serious songs, you've got, serious situations, but there's nothing really dark or pessimistic or even regretful. And I'm just curious if this year and what is happening with this pandemic and these damn fires and the hurricanes and this vitriolic politics and the civil unrest and not even to mention the fact that you have lost your job, I'm curious if all of this on kind of a personal level is shaking your foundation at all or taking you down a notch.
Well, tough times don't last, tough people do, and this is hard, but it depends on what your definition of hard is. I got no income right now coming in, but I'm able to make my house payment still, and compared to some people, I don't see myself as suffering at all.
Really?
I miss being out on the road and seeing my fans and everything. But there is an actual silver lining during this. I've got to be with my family more than I ever have, and so even though it's been bad, in a way, it's been good for me. Because I had enough jars of change buried in the backyard, I could dig them up and cash them in, and still be able to pay my bills. And I'm enjoying being with my family. That's just my side of the hill.
Well, I fully understand that. I was talking to Steve Poltz today. I don't know if you know Steve. And
I love Steve.
Yeah, and Steve, I don't know, how many dates did you play in 2019, do you think?
About 150.
Yeah, okay. So that's a lot of dates. And
yes, it is.
And Steve was saying that's about what he had done, and he said he had always kind of had this idea, a fantasy about taking a year off, and he said, and he got it, and he's really enjoyed it. He makes no bones about that. Well, here I got another question for you. This song, you might be wrong. I said it's a self-revelatory song, and we played a live version, and the crowd laughed and everything. But to me, it's a really serious song, and it talks about a moment in time in which, you really came to terms with your own system of beliefs, and one that had been ingrained in you. I mean, seriously ingrained in a Pentecostal church. And I'm assuming you had something kind of an aha moment, which is what the song's about. And
yeah, I did. I grew up learning about Jesus, and I got a lot of good things out of that, and a great experience, but then when I got older and I went out in the broader world and I got to go to other countries, I met people that did not believe in Jesus. They believed in something else. But what they believed was exactly like me. It was something they were told as a child, and without questioning it, they believed it. And so everybody believes that they know what's on the other side of life. But everybody has a different belief. And, in the Bible Belt where I live, they say if you don't give your heart to Jesus, you're basically going to burn in a fire. And I don't really see that.
You don't subscribe to that. You don't subscribe to that anymore.
No, I do not.
Uh-huh.
But I do subscribe to this. The only way you're going to know what's on the other side of life is when you die. No one's ever came back that I know of from death, truly, and said, "Hey, this is what's over there." I mean, I've heard people, scammers. I've heard them say things like that, but and none of us knows what's on the other side of life, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to say with that song. It's you can believe in something, but always remember you're just a human, and you just have very limited information, and so because of that, recognize there's a chance you could be wrong.
I'm a fan of a guy by the name of Joseph Campbell. He's a writer, kind of a philosopher guy, and he has a quote that I have up in my house, and it says, "Believing you know the truth is a certain kind of insanity," and truth with a capital T. And it does. And anyhow, when that song, I thought it was a very self-revelatory song, and I know that there must have been a moment there that you went through something. It wasn't just as easy as, oh, you're traveling overseas and all of a sudden you drifted into that. There was probably something, you had kind of an aha moment with it.
Well, just at the core of everybody is insecurity. And, with that insecurity, we want to be able to cling to something that gives us hope.
Right.
And that's fine. But I realize that for me, I believe there is a higher power of some sort, but I'm incapable of knowing what it is. I just believe if I live a life showing love to others and encouraging others, and trying to be an empath along the way and help people and enjoy people and laugh with people and cry with them too, if I'm going to hell for that, just send me on.
Okay, I have another question, and I think this is probably the question I'm most interested in because it's personal in a way for me. I'm very interested in your creative life. I mean, you've had a whole lot of time right now. You've spent it with your family, but you've also had a whole lot of time to write and paint. And I'm curious, have you been writing? Have you been painting? And if so, what is this going to look like? And what is it going to sound like? Is there going to be a different sheen to this or a different tone to it because of what we've been through or what you've been through? And obviously, not necessarily negative things, maybe even a positive thing. Are you going to come out of this with some new stuff?
Well, who knows the answer to that? Mm-hmm. Only time will tell. Every morning when I get up, I sit on the couch and have my coffee, and I've got a guitar sitting right there by the couch, and I pick that thing up every morning, and I try to come up with something, whether it's just hum a little tune into my iPhone or write down a lyric or something, and things come. I've already written I could write a song every day, but I've gotten to the point where I'm not going to write a song unless I think it's really great.
Right.
I'm not going to waste my time on just saying, hey, I wrote a song,
Right.
And I'm getting some things like that, and I've been doing my artwork, and to be honest, going back to what I'm saying, I really enjoy knowing that I was here when my daughter got her braces took off. She got her braces off, and that may sound like a mundane thing, but when I can see her come home and not feel insecure about that metal that was in her mouth, and she's smiling now, and she's got more confidence, that's the stuff I'm going to write about, because I'm getting to see this stuff where normally when I'm out on the road, I don't get to see it.
Wow. And I guess I guess seeing that is also, it's reminded you that there's been a lot you have missed over the years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing I love doing, I love taking the trash out to the road. I love sweeping out the carport. Things that people hate and that don't travel for a living, I love, because that means I'm here.
Right.
And so I have no complaints. I feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel. I really do. Things seem to always snap back, but right now we're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
And so I just recommend, everybody just quit crying and pick up their cross and carry it.
Noted. So I got one more question for you, and it kind of follows up to that, and that is, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we are going to get green lighted. You will be out there touring again, and do you sense that you're going to be able to pick up where you left off? I mean, not as a business person, we know that's going to be all different, but as an artist and an entertainer, you sense that there's going to be a need or an urge to, maybe address, talk about this thing that has happened, or?
No, I don't.
Uh-huh.
I am not qualified to talk about it because I'm not an expert. I'm an entertainer. My job when I go out there is, when people come to my show, they've paid money to come and have a good time, and that's what I'm there to do, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try my best to just say, let's forget about what's going on, and let's just act a fool, let's laugh, let's have a good time together. That's what they're paying for, and that's what I like to give people.
Right. Well, that sounds like the perfect description of you, and I just want to say in closing, I'm sure you don't remember, but I guess it's been 8 or 9 years now. I got to open a show for you in Seattle in a really nice room, and when I played my little set, and I came back and sat down, and you said, you need to get out there to your merchandise table. Your people are out there, and I've never forgotten about that. And it was a good instruction, and I really appreciate that.
Well, when you go on stage, I always remember the show is not for you; it's for them.
Right.
The show is for them. You're the one you're performing a service for them, and it's your job to make them feel good. And I got that from my dad, the preacher. When my dad was preaching, he would preach the sermon, and then when the church was over, he would go stand in the foyer, and he would shake every single person's hand that came, and he would tell them he loved them, and he wished he invited them back, and he really meant it. He really meant it. He had time for the wealthy people. He had time for the poor people. He had time for everybody. He was no respecter of person. Right. And I can only dream and hope that I can be that kind of man. Well,
I think you're living up to it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking this call and talking to us tonight. We really appreciate it, and it's been illuminating, and it's been encouraging, and we all look forward to seeing you back out there soon.
Man, I appreciate it, but I just want to add one thing. When I was watching you sing that song about Stop, Chill, and Get, what's that sound?
Yeah.
I was watching you sing that, and I was enjoying it, and then all of a sudden, some female with a mask on, I thought she was holding a baseball bat, and you was fixing to get robbed. But then it turns out that she was just playing a fiddle, which I'm glad.
Yeah, she was harmless, but well, thank you for that. Yeah. All right.
I sure thought you was finna get mugged in a minute.
Well, hopefully not in the studio. I've been mugged before, actually, but hopefully it wouldn't happen in the studio. Well, say hello to Billy Maddox for us, too, please, your partner.
Hey, yeah.
And
and thank you. I think you're doing a good show.
Thank you so much, Paul. We'll talk to you soon.
Man.
All right, man.
All right, bye.
If that doesn't sound authentic and genuine, I don't know what does. He gets asked a lot about the time he fought Roberto Duran. He was a professional boxer, fought him for 6 rounds, and he gets asked about that a lot, but I wasn't going to ask him about it. But that's who he is.